What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special episode of the show, Jaws the Movie Review. It's only 48 years too late, but if you think about it this way, it's 2 years ahead of the 50th anniversary. Sorry, I'm just going to take a little sip of coffee here. Anyway, Jaws the movie. This thing is my favorite movie of all time, and in honor of Halloween coming up, I figured let's do a movie review of the Jaws movie. Well, it is my favorite movie, starring Roy Scheider, Richard Dreyfuss, Lorraine Gary as Mrs. Brody. Of course, Robert Shaw played an amazing role as Quint, the shark hunter. Music by John Williams. You know, he won an Academy Award for it, which was one of the few awards this movie garnered. Should have won much more. Steven Spielberg should have got Director of the Year. It's basically the story. I mean, there's no spoiler alerts here. I'm not going to give it away. A lot of people haven't seen this movie. You know, people tell me, are you sure that's your favorite movie? What, do you have no taste? And I'm like, yeah, Jaws has a lot of taste. Mostly the shark tasting humans. Anyway, at the time, it was the highest grossing film of all time, and it set the stage for all summer blockbusters to come after that. Based on the Peter Benchley book of 1974, it was made into a movie 1 year later, which, that's a pretty quick turnaround for a movie based on a book. It's the story of what happens when a shark, a great white shark, Carcharodon, I think it was called. Anyway, runs amok on a tourist island. And, funny fact about this, President Ford watched Jaws, the movie, from Camp David back in 1975 when it came out. I think he was quoted as saying that if the shark wasn't killed in the movie, he would have given him a full pardon anyway. Woo! I give this movie 4 stars, which, by the way, on this show, that's the highest you can get. 4 stars. We're not going 5 stars and all this other stuff. 4 stars. Still my favorite movie of all time. It won Best Original Score. It won Best Sound Mixing. It won Best Film Editing. John Williams made the theme of this. This thing. I can't hear. There we go. John Williams made the famous theme, just 2 notes. And reportedly, Steven Spielberg laughed at him. It was like, what? Then again, if you think about it, back at the time, I think it was unheard of. Anyway, it was the first major motion picture to be shot on the water, which puts it in good company. Producer Thomas Ince also shot on the water by William Randolph Hearst. Allegedly. The theme, the overriding theme I get from this movie is hunger. Seems obvious, right? Yeah, but Mr. Hoop, everybody in this movie is hungry for something except for Chief Brody. Think about it. Mr. Hooper, who is played by Richard Dreyfuss brilliantly, he's hungry to catch the real shark. You know, even when they catch that tiger shark on the... tiger shark... I'm just kidding. Even when they catch that tiger shark, he knows that it's not the real shark. And so he's like, no, we want to be sure about this. So he's hungry to catch the real shark. Quint, the shark hunter, is obviously always hungry for both sharks, money, and liquor. Brilliant scene, by the way, where he's like telling him about the USS Indianapolis, which was a famous incident in U.S. naval history where many sailors were killed by sharks after having delivered the Hiroshima bomb. And he's like, you know how you can tell a tiger shark, Chief? You pull out your waterproof phone and you check on Wikipedia. No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. Anyway, the townsfolk are hungry in this movie on Amity Island. By the way, Amity Island is not a real island. No, it was made up. Amity means friendship. The mayor is hungry for tourist bucks as well to keep the people happy so he can get reelected. Jaws, the shark, is obviously hungry because he eats like, I don't know, 4 people. Then there's that scene with the shark hunters when they find out that there's a reward. They come out and there's like a big frenzy on the water. They're throwing dynamite into there. They're going crazy. You know? And that's the hunger that they feel for that money, that reward. Mrs. Brody even is hungry to belong. You know, played brilliantly by Lorraine Gary. She wants to belong. You know, and the telling scene is when they're on the beach and one of the locals tells her, you know, you can't be an islander unless you're born here. You just can't do it. That shows that Mrs. Brody wanted to belong. She wanted to be an islander. The only one not hungry is Brody, Chief Brody. You know, he's throughout the whole movie, he's just kind of trying to keep things well and good. He doesn't want any waves, no pun intended. He just wants to keep everything good. He's a cop from New York who ran away from New York. A cop running away from crime. That's kind of like a banker running away from a bag of money. Anyway. You know, he's not hungry throughout the movie, which makes it ironic that he's the one, you know, who becomes the hero at the end without giving away too much. There are some negative points to this movie. The shark looks fake. That's been, you know, told and retold many, many times. Steven Spielberg had to, in fact, kind of imply that the shark was around more and more because the big mechanical shark did look fake. But I think it's better looking than a lot of the CGI we see nowadays. I remember going to Universal Studios and that being the highlight of the whole tour for me was when the shark pops out and, you know, tries to grab you on the boat. It was impressive. Yeah. The boat scenes kind of take a little too long when they're out on the water. You know, it gets to where you're almost falling asleep at that point. But those are the only bad points that I see in that movie. Spielberg should have won Best Director, you know, and Jaws maybe should have won Best Picture. Instead, it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with Jack Nicholson. But then again, Nurse Ratched could have had her own theme music. Time to take your pills. Time for a shot. Nurse Ratched was bad, man. She was almost scarier than the shark. Anyway, that was a great summer movie. Like I said, it started the tradition of blockbuster movies. Boy. Speaking of hunger, man, I'm on this fast over here. Woof. Anyway, I'd make a good meal for that shark, put it that way. The movie Jaws started the tradition of blockbuster movies, which it was, again, the highest grossing film of all time until 2 years later when Star Wars came out. Let's check out what Rotten Tomatoes says about it. Jaws, Rotten Tomatoes. What do we got here? Okay, they give it 5 stars, which again, superfluous. Too many stars. 4 stars is basically, you know, top of the tops. Looks like Jaws here on compelling, well-crafted storytelling and a judicious sense of terror ensures Steven Spielberg's Jaws has remained a benchmark. Peter Benchley mark? No, I'm just kidding. In the art of delivering modern blockbuster thrills. Rating PG. Genre, holiday movie? This is not a holiday movie. What are you talking about? Oh, the water outside is frightful. Anyway. Mystery and thriller? I guess so. Horror? Yeah, definitely. Adventure? Yeah, why not? I'm talking about real work. I'm talking about sharking. No. Anyway. It was released June 20, 1975. But streaming, it came out July 22nd, 2015. And it grossed $272.2 million in the USA, Which, Barbie kind of laughs at that, right? But adjusted for inflation, I bet that's pretty close to $1 billion. Who knows? Universal Pictures. Robert Shaw was great. I mean, his role, incredible. He did have some problems on the set. I think they had to fly him to Canada a couple of times just to get him as far away from the rest of the cast as possible. But he's a brilliant actor. What are you going to do? Let's see. Mayor Larry Vaughn. That's the guy. Murray Hamilton played Mayor Larry. Remember his little anchor shirt? Those beaches are going to stay open. This really is one of my... It is my favorite movie of all time. Tell me why I'm wrong. I'll tell you this much. We're going to do some more movie reviews here. But in the meantime, Jaws will remain my favorite movie. And I've seen King Kong. I've seen Skull Island. I've seen a lot of horror, terror, monster movies. And this one just holds up. It really does. So you guys watch it. Have fun watching it. But don't use one of these little screens here. Watch it on the big screen and watch it with big sound.